The Red Web, Chapter 20, Retaliation. Blythe missed his brother, his real brother, rather than the strange automaton that now occupied his brother's form. Herc had been the only Goliath he'd known for most of his life that actually matched his intellect, so seeing the lobotomized husk that used to house a great tactical mind filled him with a sense of sadness. Still, Herc's new form had its uses, serving as a tool for coordinating the revolutionary activities, and particularly since meeting the Delac of the Obsidian Blades, Blythe's work had become much easier. Open warfare had been declared, fighting was in the streets, and a time of choosing for all had come. The Delac had helped him after the fight with his old boss, caring for his wounds and getting him out of the line of fire. They were an odd bunch, rarely talked, and stayed on the move constantly. Blythe had a gang to run and territory to consolidate, so he'd parted ways with them quickly, but the processors in his brother's head had enough power to decrypt their radio signals and keep him in touch. Suddenly, he wasn't just an isolated propagandist. He was part of a network. The gang spanned several domes and even included access to encrypted hardlines out of the hive. Herc muttered fragments of code to himself as he processed, but it was meaningless, just a misfire as his auditory nerves were activated by the machinery probing and hijacking his gray matter. It was unnerving to hear him speak, limited though his vocabulary was.
Incoming transmission, recording engaged, playthrough message.
Yeah, bruv, send it through. We don't have confirmation. Extreme danger. Repeat, bounty has reached. You must evacuate. Blythe, there is no... Well, wasn't that just great, he thought. Someone was coming. He took a low stub from the humidor pouch on his belt, biting down and tasting the unusual mix of flavors and the light tingle of the narcotics within. No sense going light on the good stash if you're not long for this world, he thought to himself. Grinning, he lit the hefty tube of leaves and puffed in the smoke into his lungs, feeling a rush to his head. Bro, he's probably going to get ugly. I think we're going to need to try those mods Keller dropped off after all. Herc responded.
Mod calibration has not been completed. Take caution.
Caution. What had Herc ever known of caution? He was headstrong and fearless. Hey, don't worry about that. The mods are going on and we can deal with calibrating in the field. By the time the heavy stubber mod was attached to Herc and wired into the targeting system, the suspensor system wired into his data flow, etc., hours had passed. Herc continued to bark warnings as they went, but the servos seemed to work after Blythe shrink-wrapped the last wire into place. A moment later, there was a knock, following the coded rhythm he taught his closest advisors. What do you want? It's time to move, boss. The Delac say they have a safe house. But I like me house. Sir, The voice on the other side of the door went silent. A bullet, presumably one that had went through the oarlock outside, punched a hole through the door and embedded into the floorboard. Ah, fuck, Blythe exclaimed, grabbing his gear. Herc, time to calibrate the cannon. Servos whirred to life, and Herc bobbled on the spot, his body attempting to learn to compensate for the added weight and calculations necessary to run the weapon attachment.
System check-in. Ambulation subroutine as error in sequence. Movement difficulty anticipated.
We can troubleshoot the bloody machine spirit after we deal with whoever is lighting up our hub. Stay where you are. I'll open the door and you can put rounds downfield. Blythe kicked the door open and rolled to the side, giving Herc a firing line to the target. Where the shots had come from wasn't clear, so the servitor opened up with the stubber, laying down a pattern of suppressive fire, sending a burst of a dozen shots downrange in a short period, analyzing where they hit and chanting.
Calibrating.
Within a dozen shots, Herc barked.
Targeting systems optimized to 85%. Searching for life signs.
The figure that was once his brother moved its head in an unnerving jerk back and forth as it scanned for a target.
Likely target identified. Body 77 degrees. Silhouette matches Kroot biological profile.
Kroot? My fuck, they must really want us dead. The strange alien creatures with the unnerving melding of avian and humanoid features were something of a legend in the hives outside of Primus, rarely seen if ever, but with a reputation for extraordinary violence and tenacity. If they'd set them on him, he was more important than he realized.
Affirmative, eliminating target.
The stubber opened up again, this time sustaining fire as their prey sought cover. A moment later, Herc chimed in again.
Target eliminated.
Blythe grabbed his pack, resigning himself to needing to move on from this place. The rest of the gang was engaged when Herc and Blythe descended from their apartment to the pad the rest of the gang shared on the ground level. They were taking fire from two directions, crouching and returning fire at the windows. Boss, from what I seen, it's contract killers stacked outside. Yeah, where's the truck? Other side of the settlement. It's juiced. We just need to get there. Blythe drew his grenade launcher and chambered some gas grenades, a combi stubber on his waist for when things got close up. Let's move, he shouted, lobbing grenades into the street in front of their hab, the smoke rising out of them giving them cover. He hoped their pursuers weren't working together. If they were rivals, then they had likely rushed the setup. If they hadn't been cautious, if they didn't disable the vehicles on the outskirts of the settlement before they launched their attack, hoping to get the drop on him before someone else did, then he might have a chance of getting out of here. Dragging the clunky form of Herc was a slow process and one that he hadn't accounted for. The code needed to run the gun arm had apparently caused a glitch that reduced his brother's movement to a mere shuffle. And as they snuck along an alleyway between habs, a lithe form dropped from the overhead. Another Kroot, hunting knife in hand, descended on him.
Target too close for firing solution.
Herc barked. No shit, bruv, Blythe quipped. You ain't getting paid enough for this, mate. He barked at the strange creature attempting to drive a blade through his chest. It was bigger than he'd expected from the rumors about them, bulky, like him. In fact, underneath the superficial avian features, the body quite resembled a Goliath.
Fight for honor, kill for Groot, grow stronger.
Whatever the hell that meant, the Goliath didn't have time for this. He tossed the Xenos against a hab wall and quick drew his pistol, firing an arcing bolt of plasma into the unarmored assailant, killing it instantly. They moved up another block, spotting a bounty hunter on a motorbike. Herc, bike, now, Blythe ordered. Their advance was slow, but the rest of the gang had scattered up the various alleyways, so the sounds of gunfire barked from every direction. They might just make it. Blythe grinned. At some point, his luck was going to run out, but he did not intend for this to be that day.